सर वहीं से ले लीजिए।
कहाँ से ले ले?
जहाँ से है ब्लॉक 2 ही।
ब्लॉक 2?
हाँ, जहाँ से इसमें दिया हुआ है, क्योंकि हो ही नहीं रहा है, वहाँ से जल्दी जल्दी भेजे हुए, क्योंकि टाइम भी देगा था, टाइम भी लगता है नहीं मिलेगा, पता नहीं 1:30 बजे से किसी और का है क्या। नहीं, 1:25 तक देना है।
1:25 तक?
नहीं मिलेगा। हाँ बस
1:25 तक मतलब से 1:27 तक खत्म कर रहे हैं।
कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, कल उसको मर्ज कर देंगे।
घर से 1:27 तक चलेगा ना?
हाँ, 1 मिनट क्यों सर, वो कर लेते हैं, कल है मर्ज कर दिया जाएगा। क्या किया जाए, ऐसा हो गया। बैठिए सर, आइए।
अंगूठा दिखाया है?
नहीं।
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the class of strategic management again. And today we are going to start block 2. We have finished our block 1, and I'm sure you would have got a fair idea of the subject called strategic management. So moving ahead, in block 2, we'll talk about environmental analysis. And we'll start with unit number 4, which is known as external environment. Now, objectives, once we finish up this thing, we'll be able to understand the process, how we go about doing analysis of environment. We'll also talk about PISTL once again, and also industrial organization, that is IO model. The structure is given below for your perusal. So moving ahead, look at this. Now, why it is important to do environmental analysis? As of now, we know this thing that we work with society. Any organization doesn't work in silos or in all alone. You have to interact with your environment because your suppliers are there, your business associates are there, your customers are there. So unless I am not understanding the environment where I am working, I won't be able to justify the business, or my business will not be functioning smoothly. So when we talk about that, what are the factors which are at play in the external environment, which is beyond your internal environment, that is your organization, That is known as environmental analysis, and it is done by the concept called industrial organization model, about which we'll talk further. Moving ahead. Look at this. As I have been telling you that why it is important. I mean, you can always ask a question. Okay, sir, I mean, you are talking about this, but is it important to do so? Yes, it is very, very important to do so. Because as we know, marketing is such a dynamic field where things are changing at very fast stage. Some companies introducing certain technology, other are introducing some other strategy. And after this privatization, and I spoke about LPG, the world has become a small village where companies from different countries, they are coming into your own home country. Your companies are going to different countries. So these kind of things are very, very rampant today. Also, after this corona pandemic, much emphasis has been given on digitization, like going digital. And once you go digital, you find there are companies which are very much comfortable in using digital technology, whereas certain companies are a bit of laggards, which I mean they are catching up. They're trying to catch up. So even this digital world has changed the environment, that is external environment. Plus, if I talk about India, the relaxation in FDI, foreign direct investment, has also changed the game. Now, companies from abroad can come to India and invest or start their own branch in different cities of India. So the in-house companies, they are facing a competition for companies which are coming from outside, let's say America and Europe. And these outside companies, they are bringing new technology, new strategy, new culture. So in order to compete with them, we have to understand the industry. You have to understand the environment, that is external environment, where you are operating along with those companies. So that's why analysis of environment is an important aspect in strategic management. Moving ahead, look at this. It has got 3 steps. Environmental scanning. When I talk about a scan, I mean to say that you should be aware of the things which are happening around, the important factors, the variables which can have an impact on your business. And once we do that, we figure out the variables, then you try to assimilate those information, what you have gathered by doing this scanning. So if some company has brought a new technology or has brought a culture which is good for your human resource, you should also try to assimilate those, those cutting edge technology and culture which will help your company to grow. And once we do that, the assimilation part, then we also do the evaluation. Evaluation means the feedback thing. That fair enough, I should not be copying or imitating somebody blindly, but if I see worth in it, then I will do it. And once I assimilate it, I will also take feedback from my employees, from my workforce, that the changes which we have brought, are those changes good for them? Are they enjoying it? Or if not, then we might discard it. So I spoke about environmental analysis, why it is important, the process. Now we'll move ahead. External environment, again, we have been talking about. Look at this. I have just mentioned external environment, which is beyond your organization. I will have a lot of things to play. There are different factors. It can be political, legal, technological, ecological, you name it. So all the things which are playing beyond the walls of your organization, they will fall under the ambit, under the domain of external environment. And technology, out of these, technology is the most important thing. Especially after this corona, even your government of India is emphasizing to go digital. And in coming time, the situations will change. We can see the payment mode has changed, the purchasing mode has changed. People are purchasing online, they are making payment through Google Pay, Phone Pay. So all these things are taking, are playing a factor in shaping up the strategy of any company. So Look at this. Then what exactly is industrial organization model? I told you, in order to understand or do the analysis of external environment, this is a model which will give you a fair idea that what are the factors. Look at this. It says it begins with the idea that external factors have major effects on organization strategic activity. External environment impacts the formulation and implementation of strategy in order to generate decent return. I told you that we always work in tandem, in sync with external environment. External environment has various factors. I just told you: political, legal, ecosystem, technological, and so economical, so on and so forth. So unless you are not working in sync, with the external environment, your company will not grow and you won't be able to make a decent business. This model also assumes that the resources are more or less, I am saying more or less, not very same, but more or less कमो बेश जो होता है वो सब companies के पास रहता है. Now the company which utilizes those resources available at hand, they emerge as the leader of that industry. So this industrial organization model, again to recapitulate, it talks about that external environment is very, very important. It plays a role in shaping of the strategy of a company. It also assumes that every organization has got more or less same set of resources. The company which utilizes those resources in the best possible manner with cutting edge technology, or with a vendor relationship and a customer relationship, so those companies, they emerge as a leader of the industry. I hope this is clear. I'll move ahead. Now, we've already discussed about the pistol, and I hope you guys have a fair idea of this thing. So when I talk about external environment, pistol framework or pistol per se, has got a lot of role to play. PESTEL stands for, we all know. And any change, the second point says, any change in the external environment will have an impact on the business as well as the demand of the company. Take an example of Corona, because Corona is a pandemic which completely disturbed the entire world, still is threatening. So in Corona, the demand were not so great. The people were inside their home and they were more or less focusing on the vital or necessary items. They were not like splurging on their luxurious need. So as the situation changes, as the factors and variables changes in external environment, it has got a direct or directly proportional to the functioning of company as well as the demand of the market. So it becomes very, very important to analyze this external environment and work accordingly, which must be in sync with your vision, mission, goals, and objective. So tomorrow, if somebody asks you what exactly is PESTEL and how it impacts functioning of a business, so you can always say PESTEL stands for this, and these are the things which are responsible. And because of this thing, the company tries to make strategies, its strategy, in order to grapple with those external factors so that the business runs smoothly. Moving ahead, we have got another factor, another model, or you can say matrix, which helps you to evaluate the PESTEL factor, which is known as external factor evaluation matrix, which is known as EFE. Now, what exactly it is? Now, look at this. It has got 5 steps. First of all, list key external factors. You need to figure out, or just be attentive over here. You have to figure out that which are the important factors which might influence or which are affecting the working of your company as well as the industry. Okay, so once you list the factors, it can be 4, 5, 10, completely your choice. You assign a weight to each factor from 0 to 1. 0 is the least important, 1 is the most important. Okay, and now after that, after assigning this thing, you also give them a rating starting from 1 to 4. And now what do? You multiply the the weight with the rating and add it. Now, more or less, the average should be like something around 2.5. Below than that, 2.5, then you have got some issues, you have got some weaknesses. More than 2.5, it means that you are pretty okay with that. These things, you are doing pretty good with those factors, with the external factors, which might be affecting your company. So this is another model. We understood about the pestle factor. We also understood about this evaluation in external factor evaluation. So these are the couple of models by which you can have an idea, or you can access, not access, you can assess the external environment, and you can frame your strategies according to that. Moving ahead. Now, what we learned from this module? That is unit number 4. It means that there are factors which would be externally, which will play a role in shaping up the strategy of your company. Now, in order to understand those external factors, we have got certain modules like Pestle Framework, EPF, EFE matrix. So these matrix will help me to understand the important factors which are playing a role. And it also helps the manager of a company or the team of the company to tweak their strategies, to formulate their strategy as per the need of the external environment. Always remember, internal environment is under your control, but external environment in totality, you cannot say that I can control everything. So you have to manage, you have to change your strategy as per the external environment demand. And any company, or for that matter, a company which is able to manage that external factor will be always victorious in terms of business, will be better than other fellow companies. So we have finished up this external analysis. We'll move to unit number 5 without wasting any time. Look at this. Now unit 5 will talk about competitive analysis. Now once you have analyzed the market, you have to do an analysis. We have to also scan the other competitors which are playing in the industry. So once we finish up this thing, we'll be able to understand the concept of competitive analysis, Michael Porter 5 forces, which is very, very important. Social media. I'm sure nobody in today's time can ignore the role played by social media. We'll also do analysis on that. And finally, competitive profile matrix. So moving ahead, look at this. As I have been telling you, that analysis of external environment is very, very important. And it's not only with the one business. It goes same with all the businesses what a company has undertaken. Okay. And in this thing, we'll discuss about Porter 5 forces model, which is pretty important. The forces which are presenting in an industry. So as we move forward, we'll discuss about it. So moving ahead, look at this. It's very simple. As the name suggests, competitive forces. Chanakya says that you should be able to know the strength and weaknesses of your competition if you want to beat them, especially their weaknesses. So same goes in strategic management. If you have to be number 1 or number 2 in the market, and if you are not number 1, number 2 in the market, then you are not making profit, that's for sure. So you need to understand your competition, what they are good at, what are their weaknesses, and you must try to make your strategy which are better than your competition strategy, and you should attack on your competitors' weaknesses. Therefore, it becomes very, very important to understand the finer points, the nuances of your competition in the market. And how do you do that? We'll see. Now look what I'm talking about. Michael E. Porter, one of the most influential management group of today's time, still he's alive. He talks about the 5 forces which act on an industry. Now look at this. The act on an industry, first of all, is the threat of new entrants or potential entrants. If I am in an industry, I am in a business, I would be always threatened by newcomers. And you can always see there are examples where newcomers have come and completely changed the dynamics of industry. Let's talk about online purchase. Initially, people used to go to purchase anything, you to go to market, the physical market. But now the virtual market has taken over. Now I am sure everyone would have at least made a purchase at least once through Amazon or Flipkart, through Agio, Mantra. So there's always a threat from the new entrants. New entrants comes with latest technology, with a lot of money, with a lot of ideas. So any existing company should be wary of that thing. Second is, look at this, industry competition, a rivalry among the existing firms. Very simple, obviously. I think except defense and railway, no industry, no one has got monopoly in any industry. Everyone has got competition, and there's an intense competition. Take an example of beverages like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They keep on competing in terms of price, in terms of advertising, visibility. You talk about toothpaste industry. We have got a lot of competition among Pepsodent and Colgate. So there is a intense competition among the existing firms as well. And they force a company to change their strategy. The strategies, if I talk about changing strategy, it can be reduction of price, going more about advertising, or adding more sales promotional thing. So even this force is very, very important. Third is substitute of products. Now, there has been example where our product has faced the certain demise, certain death, because a new substitute which is better than the existing product has come. I hope you guys have remember when we used to watch movies on VCR and VCP. Now, I think people from who were born in 80s and 90s, they are aware about this thing. But if you talk about somebody who is from a millennial generation, who was born into 2000, they hardly know about it because they are watching the movie on OTT platform on their mobile phone. So those things, the VCR, the cassette, it has become obsolete and has got his death. Talk about the pager. I remember when I was in studying in Delhi University, we used to have pager, a small thing where you can only send messages. Now, because of the coming of mobile phone, the pager is long gone. So unless you don't keep on changing yourself, there would be some products who would be better than you, and they will replace you. Because always remember, market is not loyal to you unless you don't belong from a cult product. When I say cult, it means cultural thing, like Royal Enfield, or maybe Harley and Davidson. Now the customer of these brands, they follow a cult, they follow a culture. Come what may, they will not leave it. But it doesn't happen with majority of the case. So 3 forces we just studied. 2 other forces: bargaining power of suppliers and bargaining power of buyers. Now, bargaining power of suppliers, I would like to give an example of suppliers in the sense the people who are supplying raw material to you. Now, materials which are not very, which is a bit scarce in nature, your business partner, the suppliers, would try to bargain with you, would ask you more money because the product is not available, in a rampant way, not in every way. He is very few selective suppliers. So he might ask you for more money. He might not give you on time your raw material. So these things, they also play a role, because if he's asking more money, it might happen that you have to reduce your profit. You have to increase the price because the raw material price has gone up. If it's not giving raw material on time, it might happen that you have to stop your production, and that will hamper your business. And the last, bargaining power of buyers. People, the market I'm talking about. You might be having an amazing product, okay, and you are very much convinced about it. But if the market does not perceive it in terms of price, in terms of quality, the way you are perceiving it, it will not buy. There have been many examples where the product was amazing, but the buyers could not connect with that and they simply rejected it. So in that case, your business will fall, your business will fail, and because you are unable to sell the product. So as per the Porter, he said, there are 5 forces which are working in a market, in an industry, which every company has to deal with. And the company which deals with these 5 forces in the best possible manner emerges victorious. So if somebody asks what are the Porter 5 forces model, you can always say there are 5 forces: potential entrant, rivalry among existing firms, threat of substitute, bargaining power of buyers and suppliers. And these will help you to do a competitive analysis. Through this, you can do that. So I hope this is clear. I will move further. Now, what exactly are strategic groups? Now, I would like you to read this thing. Strategic groups are done, it's mentioned over there. They are grouped together for purpose of improving analysis and understanding competition within the industry. They do not necessarily belong to any formal group. They are not part of any group, always remember this thing, but they are helpful in doing an analysis or understanding the kind of competition an industry is facing. So it is important to get ideas, to get views of this strategic group. Okay, take an example, maybe a consultant who is having idea about a certain industry. So you should go and listen to him, what he has to say, because they might give you some in-depth insight which you might have overlooked. So that will help you to make your strategy, that will help you to tackle your competition, and will help you to do the business in the most profitable manner. So these are the strategy groups. These are the terms, if they ask you, you should be knowing it. Moving ahead. What exactly the scenario planning? Now please read this thing. It's very simple. This says scenarios are powerful planning tool precisely because the future is unpredictable. It talks about, as of now, whatever you are facing, it might happen that the future will not remain the same. So this scenario planning helps you to plan about the future also, to plan about what will be unpredictable, what is going to come. It will talk about the future trends. It will talk about have a futuristic orientation. It also gives you an idea that whatever I am doing currently, will that be useful in future also? So it challenges your assumption. So you always have been 1 or 2 steps ahead of the current time. In Sanskrit they say agra soche pandita. मतलब जो आगे सोचता है, he is a wise person. So you should be planning the scenario in terms of what would be the future, what would be the trend, so that, as I have told you from the first class onwards, that strategy is a long-term plan. So you should be always thinking about future and plan a scenario, what will happen If this is not going to continue, then am I ready to grapple that time, the future, which I have not seen so far? But if I have got the right strategy in place, I'll be able to tackle it. That becomes a scenario planning. I hope this is clear. We'll move ahead. Now, very important, social media competitive analysis. You name any company which is not present on social media. Now, I should be, as I said, social media falls under the domain of external environment. And everyone, all the companies worth their salt are available, present on social media, and they're using social media in the best possible manner to promote their product or services. So I should be having a look about the companies, about my competition, because we are doing competitive analysis, what exactly they are doing. And if they are doing the things which might be useful to me also, useful for my company, then I will also tweak my strategy in order to have the fitment or in order to be in competition. In social media, you will see people giving feedback, the market giving feedback. Customer take to social media in order to give the feedback about certain product or services. And I would be having a fair idea that how market perceives my organization. And if I need to change it, if I need to change the image or perception of the market, I will make a strategy accordingly. So social media, as far as if I am putting it correctly, every organization has got a team of social media analysts. And their job is to keep on searching that what others are doing. And if others are doing something good, can we emulate? Can we get the same thing in our competition? Or we need to change here and there and then we should use it. So social media competitive analysis becomes an important tool. If I have to do a competition analysis, that gives me an idea what others are doing, where I am lacking. And if I'm lacking somewhere, I should be able to fill the gap, so that I must remain in the race. This is all about social media competitive analysis. We'll move ahead. Look at this competitive profile matrix, what exactly it is. Same, almost same what we understood about the EFE. It's a tool. I'll just have a gulp of water. It's a tool which helps me to do a comparative analysis with my competition, with my competitors. Okay, and this thing also has 4 steps. First of all, identify critical success factor, what we did with EFE. You should be having 2 factors, 3 factors, 4 factors, which are important, which are vital for your company organization. Again, you put a weight starting from 0 to 1, 0 the least one and 1 the maximum one, and also rating again 1 to 4, and then once you give the weight and the rating, you multiply it and then add it. Same goes over here also. On an average, it will be like 2.5. More you are better, less you need to work on it. So this competitive profile matrix is a tool which helps me to compare my organization, my company with other competition. It talks about my strong point, my weak points, my strength and my weaknesses. And there is a formula for this thing, which I have explained. So more than 2.5 is always good. Less than that, you need to work on it. So moving ahead. Now, what exactly we have learned in this? We learned that in order to do an analysis of the competition, because I want to thrive in industry, I want to make profit in industry, and these competitive analysis are done by certain models like Porter 5 forces, competitive profile matrix, which gives me an idea of my strength and weaknesses, which gives me the idea of competitors' strengths and weaknesses. It also talks about the social media analysis, where I go to the people on virtual world, on wide world, and try to get the feedback, try to understand what what others are doing, what market is thinking about my company, and try to change it, try to make my offering, my organization more friendly to the market, better than competition, and serve the society in the best possible manner. So with this, we have come to the end of competitive analysis. We'll move to unit number 6 of block 2, which is internal analysis. Look, in the 4th unit, we spoke about external environment analysis. Your competitions are based located externally. So we did competitive analysis. Now, unless you are healthy, wealthy, and wise internally, you won't be able to compete externally. So you also need to check your internal affairs of work. And how you do that? So once we finish up thing, we'll understand internal analysis, the concept of core competence. We also spoke about value chain analysis and SWOT analysis. Just excuse me, there's an extra A over there. So this is the structure, and I'm sure once we finish up this thing, we'll be able to relate that how we do internal analysis. So moving ahead. Look at this, why it is important. Internal analysis is important, as I said, because I should be aware about my strengths and weaknesses. I should be aware about the availability of resources. And if I am not aware, I won't be able to compete externally. So once I am sure of my capabilities, my competencies, I can go and start playing with competition, start selling my product or my services. So this internal analysis helps me to do that. It helps me to realize where I am lacking and what should I do if I have to be better than the competition. That's why internal analysis is important. Moving ahead. There's resource-based view. Now, in an organization, obviously, as I have been saying, resources are always scarce. Now, when I talk about resource-based view, in short, it's known as RBV, any organization has got 3 types of resources: assets, capabilities, and competencies. Now, when I talk about assets, it has got 2 parts: tangible assets and intangible assets. Tangible asset, things which you can touch, like your raw materials, your finished good, your offices, your human resource. But if I talk about intangible things, you cannot touch, you can only see, you can only feel, you can only sense, like your brand image, your brand equity, your goodwill. So when there is a due diligence means when a company is about to be bought, or a company is planning to sell its organization. So the buying company does a due diligence where they consider both factors, your tangible assets as well as intangible assets. Second is capabilities. Fair enough, you want to compete in the market, but do you have the kind of skill, the kind of raw material, the money which is important to perform in the market, to perform in the industry? Do we have people who have got right set of skills to compete with the competition? I might be having assets, but if I don't have the right people, I don't have the right skill or the resources, it would be not fair to say that I will be beating competition. And the third type of resources is your competency. How competent you are. When I talk about how competent, it means how, by using less resources, how useful you can be, how much more you can deliver. Look, using resources and getting the result in the same proportion is not your competency. You are competent when you use less of resources, because I have been telling you resources are always scarce. But the results are amazing. Results are multifold. So if your organization is like that, just to give you certain examples, there are startup companies, there are unicorns, which are doing this thing. They've got less resources, but the results are amazing. And market is taking note of it. And they're making good business. And they are threatening giants of that industry. So you should be resource-based, you said, you should be able to understand that what are your capabilities, what are your strengths and weaknesses. Resources are three types: assets, capabilities, and competency. You should be careful about it. And once you are assured of these things, and I can say that you are ready to go in the market and grapple with competition. Moving ahead. The critical success factor. What are those factors which are very, very vital to succeed in the market? Because if I don't succeed, I always say that if you are not number one or number two, trust me, you are not making money. You are not making profit. Third position, fourth position, either you are struggling with break-even point or you are making losses. So you should be able to identify those critical success factors or critical factors. And this can be done through your empirical research, by going in the market, by talking to people, by doing some research work, by going through the journals and periodicals, through internet. And then you figure out what are the attributes of this industry. When I talk about attributes, I mean you talk about the entry barriers, the exit barriers, the companies which are already playing number one company, what are their product mix, who are the target group, which is the target group, and your competitive position, where you are in this industry vis-a-vis with respect to other companies, and why they are ahead of you. What are the factors which you are lacking? And if I improve on those factors, will I be able to compete? So these critical success factors, first of all, it will help you to understand the standing of industry, how many players are there, what they're talking about, and also my position vis-a-vis the competition. So I should be also very, very careful about this critical success factor. I'll move ahead. Now look at this. Again, this value chain framework, which is an evaluation model, which you can conduct internally and also given by Michael Porter. Michael Porter also give the 5 forces, and this value chain network has been also given by Michael Porter. And he says there are 2 types of activities in an organization: primary activities as well as a secondary activity. Now I'll explain this thing very slowly so that you can comprehend it in the right way. Now, if I talk about primary activities, there are 5 types: inbound logistic, operation, outbound logistic, sales and marketing, service and support. Now I'll explain these terms one by one. I'll just have a gulp of water. Yes. When I talk about inbound logistic, I mean the raw materials which are coming to your company. So we'll see the quality, the price of that raw material. Operation, when the raw material get processed, that is also important, because you should be aware about the processing part, about the operation part, the time, the quality. That should be in consideration. And once this is processed and the product is ready, it is known as outbound logistic. It means now the raw material has been processed into finished good, and now this finished good will reach the market. And how, once the product reaches in the market, how that product should be visible, that is a job of marketing and sales team. So you brand it, you advertise it, sales team will go and sell it, it will talk to the distribution network, and they will try to make that product available to the market. And once that product is sold out, then you have got the service and support system, which is known as after sales service. Your job of a company doesn't end once you finish up selling and you have realized the money. You should be also be able to give after sales service after 6 months or 1 year. If something goes wrong with the product, you should be able to help them. So these 5 things become the primary activities of a company. Now, which are the secondary activities? It talks about firm, the things in blue, firm infrastructure, where you are located, what are your offices, the workstations. They also play a great role, great part in the motivation or the working culture of organization. Human resource management, obviously, if you have got motivated people, workforce, they will not leave anything unturned. And they will be able to achieve whatever you give them. Technology development, again, very important. As we have been talking about, digitization has taken or has played a big role in today's business environment. So how well adapted or how well equipped you are in terms of latest technology, that will also help you. And the last activities, which is part of secondary activity or support activities, is procurement. Always remember this thing. Now, there would be many sellers if you are purchasing your raw material. But the factors which you have to take care of is the quality and the price. You need to be a very good bargainer in terms of price, in terms of quality. So that should be also important. Procurement can be like, if you're employing, let's say, getting new people in your company, their quality, how much they are charging you, that should be also a part of this thing. So in value chain analysis, that helps, given by Michael Porter, that helps to do an internal analysis, and it talks about 2 activities which is generally undertaken by a company, which are known as primary activities, which are 5 inbound logistic operation and so on and so forth, and 4 support activities. And if you are able to manage these 2 activities, you will be able to make your customer, your market happy. You will be able to overwhelm them, and obviously in process you'll make money. So this we have understood. I hope we move ahead, and then we'll talk about comparison standard. Now, look, how you should be knowing that you are number 1 or number 2 in the industry. When you compare yourself, and that is applicable for your class also. How come you say that this gentleman or this lady is a topper of our class? Because you compare with others. So when you say that you are number 1 in the industry, it means there are certain parameters where you have put yourself as well as your competition, and then you see that you are better than them. So you need to understand this also, that there are certain standards, comparison standards, where we do a comparative analysis with yourself vis-a-vis the market. That is, first one is industry norms, historical performance, and benchmarks. Industry norms. What exactly is going in an industry? When I talk about industry, I mean the companies, the number of companies which are part of the similar industry. They are into the business of producing similar product or services. So there would be a norm. Norm is like there would be a standard. So where I am in compared to industry norms, am I okay with it, or am I, ahead than others? Second would be historical performance. Historical performance means how I was or what I did in the last year or the last quarter. I was able to achieve this, let's say this amount of sale or this percent of market share. Now, obviously, I would like to grow on that historical data. So even that helps me to get an idea that where I should be going. If I have clocked, let's say 100 crore, 100 CR in the last financial year, in year 2023 and 24 financial years, I will try to get 150 or 120. And finally, benchmarks. Now, there are benchmarks made by either industry or by the company, which you have to abide by, or which you try to touch. For example, if I talk about, let's say, sports, okay, Usain Bolt, the fastest 100-meter runner in the world, now he is retired, has set up a benchmark that he has scored some 9.66 seconds. So any athlete who wants to better Usain Bolt record will have to beat that benchmark of 9.66 seconds. So if I have to see that how I'm performing, or am I performing as per my strength, and I am minimizing my weaknesses, there are 3 certain standards where you should place your company, your organization, and see that if you are performing, or if you are competitive on these 3 standards, on these 3 norms, then you are doing pretty good, and you should not be worrying about your performance. Moving ahead, SWOT analysis or tools in the first class I said. Now this is the best thing and the utmost thing a company should do as far as internal analysis is concerned. SWOT stand for S for strength, W weaknesses, O for opportunity, and T or C. T is threat. Now it has been replaced by C for challenges. Now strength and weaknesses are internal to you, which I have told you so many times. And opportunities and threats are external to me. They are lying externally. So if let's talk one by one. So if I talk about the strength, I have a great team. My supplier quality is good and it gives me at a great rate. My sales and marketing team is amazing. So these are my strengths. My weaknesses can be, we are not very good at advertising, or we are very not good at, let's say, after sales service. So this I should be analyzing. Opportunities and threat would be common to every company in the same industry. Opportunity might be like, the government comes up with some ideas, some with a bill, with the rules, and it gives an opportunity to everyone. And threat, as I told you in this thing, in Porter 5 forces model, a new entrant coming. So that is external and that will be threat to everyone. So strength and weaknesses are internal to me, and that is very important to understand if I'm doing this internal analysis. And opportunity and threat, they are external factors and they are common to everyone. So you have to do, in terms of internal analysis, you have to do your value chain analysis and then SWOT analysis. It will give you a fair idea about where you are heading, what are your advantages, and what are the areas, gray areas where you should be working on. So I'll move ahead. Now, internal factor evaluation matrix. The way we did external factor evaluation matrix, same over here. Okay. List key internal factors. What are the factors? It can be 5, 6, 10, whatever. Weight to each other, again 1 to 4, 0 to 1. Assign a rating to each factor from 1 to 4. Assign weight means 0 to 1. You multiply it and then do a summation. You add it and then you finish up it. So the same thing to external factor evaluation matrix. So finally, in summary, we understood if we have to do the internal thing, we have to do the value chain analysis as well as the SWOT analysis. And I hope this gives you a very fair idea about the topic internal analysis. So as of so far, thank you so much for joining in. And I hope you had a nice class. Namaste.